A group of bikers smirked when they saw a black man in uniform step into the bar. They called him a fake. But just minutes later, the police showed up, and what happened next left the whole place speechless. Isaiah Cole steps inside Silver Creek Saloon in Colorado, his marine fatigues contrasting with the worn sneakers on his feet. Fresh off a deployment, he's stopping by for a quick break before reaching home. The place is dimly lit, with scattered patrons quietly sipping drinks. He picks a seat near the back, away from any spotlight, and signals for a glass of water. Outside, the sun is dipping behind tall pines, but inside, the mood feels calm, until a group of bikers storms in. They burst through the door, their raucous laughter disrupting every conversation. Leather jackets, scuffed boots, and a swaggering confidence define them. One shoots Isaiah a glance, but he returns it with a steady, unblinking look. He offers no words. Chairs scrape as the newcomers spread out. Nearby customers shift uneasily, sensing an undercurrent of tension. Isaiah sips his water, posture relaxed, gaze unwavering. The bikers trade hushed remarks, occasionally glancing his way. Each remark draws them closer, their voices echoing across the walls. Isaiah's hand rests on the table, fingers tapping once. The buzz of an old jukebox fades in the background. Another sidelong look from the biggest biker meets Isaiah's eyes. And for an instant, nobody breathes. Wayne, a burly man with a wiry beard, steps forward from the group. He stands taller than the rest, his stare fixed on Isaiah's uniform. The other bikers hang back, watching him lead. A faint smirk crosses Wayne's mouth as he inches toward Isaiah's table. "Marine Corps, huh?" Wayne says, tone dripping with doubt. He plants a boot against the chair beside Isaiah. "I served too. Never saw anyone wear fatigues like that. Maybe you picked him up at a thrift store." Isaiah lifts his head slowly. His face remains impassive, but he doesn't look away. "You say you were a Marine. Then you ought to know silence can be a form of respect." He speaks evenly, no aggression in his voice. Wayne's smirk widens. He nods, like he's considering the statement, then leans closer, arms crossing over his chest. "Funny, I don't recall respect being part of your getup. Maybe you're just playing soldier, hoping for a free drink." He gestures at Isaiah's glass of water. Not exactly what a real vet orders first. Across the room, a few patrons glance over, sensing tension. The jukebox plays a subdued tune that no one is really listening to anymore. One of the bikers snorts. Another folds his arms, taking up a defensive posture. Isaiah remains composed, gaze steady on Wayne's face. He doesn't move an inch, doesn't bristle at the cheap shots. "I'm not here to impress anybody," Isaiah finally replies. "I'm heading home. Needed a quiet moment," Wayne snorts. He taps a finger against Isaiah's sleeve patch, as if testing the fabric. "Quiet, huh? You sure picked the wrong saloon, and the wrong uniform." A low chuckle emerges from two bikers flanking him. A couple by the bar have stopped talking to watch. Isaiah inhales once, carefully. "If you really served," he says, "then you know better than to hassle a fellow Marine." "Fellow Marine," Wayne repeats, voice dropping. "You might fool some folks, but not me. Where'd you do your boot camp? Show me some proof you earned the right to wear those colors." Isaiah's jaw tenses for just a heartbeat. He steadies himself, refusing to escalate with insults. "I'm not interested in proving anything to you," he says. "Let's leave it at that." Wayne's brows rise. "So you got nothing, huh?" "Not a single shred of proof." He laughs under his breath. "That's what I figured." Now the saloon grows quieter. A slow ripple of unease travels through the people at nearby tables. One woman sets down her drink, eyeing the confrontation with concern. The bartender rests a hand under the counter, possibly near a phone. Isaiah notices all of it but remains still. Wayne steps even closer, his boot practically touching Isaiah's. Let me guess, he sneers. You waltz in, pretend to be some hero, maybe get free sympathy from folks who don't know any better? That's your angle? Isaiah exhales calmly. I have no angle, he answers, voice controlled. But if you keep pushing me, you'll find out the hard way I'm not faking anything. A hush falls over the next table. Wayne's expression flashes with contempt. He looks back at his friends, seeking validation. They nod, urging him on. He squares his shoulders, stands over Isaiah, and lowers his voice. You're in my spot, Wayne says flatly. Get up, or I'll move you myself. Isaiah glances at the chair, then back up at Wayne. Don't make a mistake you'll regret. Wayne's nostrils flare. He lunges, gripping the collar of Isaiah's uniform in a sudden jerk. The table rattles, and a few patrons gasp. In the same instant, Isaiah's hand snaps up, catching Wayne's wrist. With a swift twist and a shift of weight, he shoves Wayne's arm behind his back, forcing him to bend awkwardly forward. Wayne lets out a strangled curse, face reddening. One biker steps forward, but Isaiah fixes him with a firm look. Nobody else moves. Chairs scrape, and the bartender's voice halts in mid-breath. Wayne struggles, tries to yank free, but Isaiah holds him in place, calm and controlled. Then Wayne shouts, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Get the cops! He's assaulting me! He's a damn fake!" His voice cracks with fury and desperation. "He's pretending to be a Marine! You all saw him attack me!" The saloon seems to freeze for a beat. Isaiah releases Wayne with a quick push, sending him stumbling against a table. A few glasses clatter. Wayne glares, pointing a shaky finger at Isaiah. "Don't let him get away with this," Wayne roars. "He's not who he says he is." Across the room, anxious stares dart between the two men. Even the jukebox track seems muted. The bartender looks torn, picking up the phone. Wayne straightens, rage twisting his features. The camera lingers on his livid expression as the lights fade to black. The saloon's overhead lights reflect off the arriving patrol car's windshield as two officers step inside. Conversations halt. The male officer stands broad-shouldered, scanning faces. The female officer, eyes sharp, adjusts her stance near the door. Wayne wastes no time pointing at Isaiah. "He assaulted me," Wayne growls. "Claims he's a Marine, but he's not." The male officer raises a hand. "Let's settle down. We'll figure it out." He looks at Isaiah. "Sir, what happened?" Isaiah's voice is calm. "I have proof, but maybe he should finish," Wayne sneers. "He attacked me." A few patrons shift uneasily, recalling who grabbed whom first. Wayne jabs a thumb at Isaiah's uniform. "He's faking that. We called you so he wouldn't skip out." The female officer studies Isaiah carefully. He stands composed, not scrambling to defend himself. One man at the bar watches, tension heavy in the air. The male officer says, "Let's see this proof." Isaiah nods. "Name's Isaiah Cole. I have ID, records if you want them." He notices the female officer's furrowed brow. She seems to recognize something in his stance. Wayne scowls, sensing a shift he can't understand. "What's your name again?" she asks quietly. Isaiah repeats. "Sergeant Cole, Fallujah, 2016. Her eyes widen. "Were you near District Charlie?" she asks, voice tight. He nods. "Lost some good men, but we got a few folks out." Her breath catches. "My convoy was pinned there." Wayne glances around, confusion creeping in. The female officer almost whispers, "You pulled us out of the debris." Isaiah shrugs gently. "We did what we had to do." She swallows hard. "Then I owe you my life." Wayne's eyes dart between them, fury draining into uncertainty. The male officer shifts his weight, realizing his partner's reaction. Nobody speaks. Patrons stare, grasping the significance. Wayne stands dumbfounded, face paling. A biker behind Wayne mutters, "This some kind of trick?" The female officer exhales, regaining composure. "No trick. Fallujah was real, and so is he. Wayne struggles for words. He grabbed me, he insists. Isaiah replies evenly. After you went for my collar. A couple onlookers nod, backing Isaiah's version. The bartender steps forward, voice low. Officer, I saw Wayne lunge first. She glances at him, then at Isaiah. He didn't look to be picking a fight. Wayne bristles, but the male officer interjects. Calm down, everyone. Let's keep this orderly. The tension crackles, every eye locked on Wayne's next move. Wayne's lips tighten. He looks back at his friends, but they're silent now. I'm not the bad guy here, he mutters. The female officer levels her gaze. If Sergeant Cole is who I think he is, you've made a big mistake. Wayne stares at Isaiah's uniform, searching for some hidden flaw. Nothing seems amiss. Isaiah remains calm. I told him I had proof, he says, stepping aside to pick up a small folder from the edge of the table. He sets it down carefully, not making sudden movements. The male officer gestures for Wayne to back off. Let's see, he says. Wayne hesitates, suspicion warring with confusion. Before the folder opens, the female officer stops her partner. She keeps her eyes on Isaiah. I don't need to check that, she says quietly. I remember his face now. My team almost didn't make it out. He risked everything to pull us free. The male officer studies her expression, then nods. Wayne looks like he's been punched without a fist. This is insane, he mutters, voice shaky. He can't just... But the female officer cuts him off. He can, and he did. If you want to press charges, go ahead. But I'll be filing a report on who started this. The bar falls silent. Tension heavier than ever. A hush blankets the room. Wayne's face flushes, uncertain whether to double down or retreat. He glances at Isaiah, seeing no fear, just an unyielding calm. The female officer's words ring in his ears. Saved her unit's life. Gradually, Wayne's anger seeps away, replaced by a dawning realization that he's cornered. Everyone watches, waiting for his response. He opens his mouth, but nothing emerges. The lights fade. Silence weighs on the bar as the female officer draws a slow breath. She keeps her gaze on Isaiah, the tension visible in her shoulders. We were pinned down by mortar fire outside Fallujah, she says quietly. My unit lost half our vehicles. Debris blocked the exit, smoke everywhere. He crawled through the rubble, carried me to safety, then went back for 2 more people. We thought we were done for. People glance around, unsettled by her words. Wayne stands nearby, arms rigid at his sides, looking ready to interrupt. The male officer listens, expression guarded. The female officer continues, her voice steadier now. We wouldn't be here if he hadn't risked everything. I never forgot his face. She nods at Isaiah. He's real, and I owe him. Wayne's nostrils flare. He clears his throat. So what? That doesn't change the fact he grabbed me in front of everyone. His defiance rings hollow. A few bikers behind him exchange nervous looks. Someone mutters, "Maybe we got it wrong." Another patron leans on the bar, trying to piece it all together. The male officer eyes Wayne. You said he attacked first. Wayne hesitates, then gestures stiffly. He twisted my arm. That's assault, right? The female officer turns his way, maintaining composure. It's only assault if he wasn't defending himself. Are you sure you want to claim otherwise? Because I heard a different story. Isaiah stands quietly, letting her speak. He notices the faint tremor in Wayne's hands, the uncertain glances among the bikers. Wayne opens his mouth, but the words stall. Then the female officer gestures toward Isaiah's torn sleeve. We'll check his bag, but I already know the truth. There's no question about his service. At that, a silence falls again. The bartender shifts awkwardly, avoiding Wayne's stare. The male officer steps forward. Let's proceed. "Sir, we'll examine your credentials if that's all right." Isaiah nods, keeping his posture calm. In the background, a faint clink of glasses underscores the tension. Wayne still looks unconvinced, but his bluster has weakened. The bag rests on a nearby stool. Isaiah gently places it on the table, unzips the top, revealing a folder along with a neatly folded uniform shirt. The male officer looks inside, glances at a set of military ID papers. The female officer doesn't even need to see them. She stands a step back, arms crossed, like she knows the outcome already. Wayne frowns, searching for something to say, but no words come. Sweat beads on his temple. One of his own men steps away from the group, avoiding Wayne's gaze. Another tries to speak, then stops, swallowing the urge. The tension is electric. Finally, Wayne exhales. "This doesn't prove anything about how he treated me, uniform or not." He jerks a thumb at Isaiah, trying to salvage control. "He acted tough, pinned me down in front of everyone." The male officer lifts the papers, cross-checking them with the name on Isaiah's fatigues. "We'll see," he says evenly. The male officer opens the folder and skims through Isaiah's service records. Each page confirms the reality Wayne refused to accept. The officer's gaze shifts to the name patch on Isaiah's fatigues, then back to the documents. He exhales lightly, handing them to his partner. She barely glances at the papers, her faith in Isaiah unwavering. Wayne stands rigid, fists clenched at his sides. He can feel the stares from every corner of the bar. One of the bikers edges closer, peering at the file with uncertain eyes. Another hangs back, shoulders slumped. They've followed Wayne's lead for years, yet this moment exposes cracks in his authority. The female officer sets the papers down and looks at Wayne. "You still want to press charges for assault?" she asks, keeping her voice calm. "Because from what I see, he was defending himself." Wayne mutters. "He showed off, pinned my arm like I was nothing." A flicker of resentment colors his face. "I never attacked him. You all saw how he twisted me around." Isaiah remains collected. "You grabbed my collar," he says. "I told you not to push me." A low murmur ripples through the patrons. Most recall exactly how Wayne lunged first. The bartender nods subtly, stepping back so the officers can hear. "He went at the sergeant, not the other way around," she says. "I was about to call you folks when it happened." Wayne glares at her, but she doesn't flinch. One of Wayne's own men fiddles with a half-empty glass, refusing to meet his eye. Another glances at the door, considering a quiet exit. The tension in the room feels like a live wire, crackling with each breath. The female officer shifts her focus to Isaiah. "You mentioned you had no interest in pressing charges. Is that correct?" Isaiah nods. "I don't need him behind bars. I only hope he thinks next time he decides who is real enough in his eyes." Wayne tightens his jaw, hearing the implicit reproach. He opens his mouth to argue, but finds no solid ground. The male officer gives him a pointed look. "You said he's impersonating a Marine. We've verified that's false." The officer's tone turns firm. "If you persist, we'll have to note you as the aggressor in any official report. Your call." Wayne's gaze darts around, seeking support. Most of his biker crew avoid him now. One finally mumbles, "Wayne, man, let it go." Another, eyes downcast, whispers, "I think we messed up." Sweat beads along Wayne's hairline. His pride wars against a creeping realization. He's lost control of the narrative. "This is ridiculous," he mumbles, voice raw. "He shows up out of nowhere, wearing that uniform." The female officer interjects, "That uniform saved my life." Her calm tone barely masks the emotion behind it. "You can doubt him all you want, but I've seen him in action. And so have others." A silence settles in again. Wayne's expression twists, frustration mixing with a grudging awareness that everyone stands against him. He tries one last angle, pointing at Isaiah. "You want applause or something? A pat on the back for being a hero? Isaiah meets his glare without flinching. I don't need anyone's praise, he says quietly. All I want is for you to think twice before judging someone by the boots they wear or the color on their uniform. A rustle passes through the crowd, a collective acknowledgement of the lesson Wayne failed to grasp. The bartender clears her throat, stepping forward with a measured glance at Wayne. That's enough, she says. People come here to unwind, not witness this. Wayne's shoulders sag slightly. One of the bikers rests a hand on his arm, but he shrugs it off. He still clings to the last shreds of his defiance. I'm not apologizing, he mutters. I'm not. The female officer steps closer. If you want to file a complaint, do it. I'll document everything, including who grabbed whom first. She lets the moment hang, her words setting the final boundary. But if you keep going, you'll only dig deeper. Wayne's bravado flickers. He glances at Isaiah again, then at the folder on the table, the undeniable proof of Isaiah's service. The male officer rubs his chin, waiting for Wayne's decision. A few seconds pass. Wayne's eyes flick to each corner of the bar, seeing nothing but blank faces and disapproval. He sighs, letting his shoulders slump. Fine, he mutters. I'm done. One foot scuffs the floor. No complaint. A hush follows as he concedes. The tension loosens, but an awkward heaviness lingers. The female officer nods. Then that's that. She turns to the other bikers. You all got a problem with that? They exchange uncertain looks. Nobody speaks up. A man behind Wayne quietly admits, We're good. Wayne seems to want to argue more, but the realization sets in. He glances at Isaiah's uniform, then at the officer's face. There's no path forward that lets him save face. He exhales again, giving a half nod, trying to mask his embarrassment. A slight movement catches Isaiah's eye. One of Wayne's men, who'd been silent until now, leans in and murmurs, I think we messed up big time. The comment isn't just about Wayne's mistake. It's about their entire approach to the situation. Isaiah says nothing, simply watches them. He knows none of this changes how they acted, but maybe it's a start. The bartender slides her phone beneath the counter. She's relieved it didn't escalate further. The female officer hands Isaiah's papers back. Thank you for your service, she says, and for keeping a cool head. Isaiah nods in acknowledgement. He returns the items to his bag without fanfare. Wayne shifts his weight from one foot to the other, shuffling backward. An onlooker near the jukebox shakes his head at the spectacle, then turns away. Wayne mutters, I'm leaving, and motions to his crew. They follow uncertainly, glancing at Isaiah with subdued guilt. The door swings open, letting in the dry Colorado air, and they slip out. The male officer stands aside, letting them pass, then looks at Isaiah. You okay? Isaiah gives a half smile. Yes, sir. The bartender exhales, stepping out from behind the counter. She checks on a couple of rattled guests, then offers Isaiah a nod. Hope next time you're in here, it's calmer, she says, forcing a faint grin. Isaiah zips his bag, slings it over his shoulder. Couldn't ask for more. He speaks quietly, aware that the entire bar just witnessed something far bigger than a scuffle. The female officer's eyes linger on him for a moment. She recalls, that day in Fallujah, the fleeting memory of dust and screams, the unwavering resolve that saved her team. Wayne, already outside, rests a hand on his motorcycle's handlebar, face tense. His men stand around him, not sure how to proceed. Across the saloon's threshold, Isaiah offers them one last look. They don't meet his gaze. Finally, the door settles shut. Inside, tension fades, replaced by a slow return to normalcy. A few murmurs ripple through the crowd, people asking each other for details. The officers stay briefly, ensuring no further trouble. Then they, too, prepare to leave. Wayne tilts his head down, silent as he realizes the weight of his mistake. No one laughs or calls after him. The final humiliation is the quiet acceptance that he picked the wrong fight and lost. Isaiah kneels by the open hood of an old pickup truck in his gravel driveway. It's been a quiet 7 days since that bar confrontation. He tightens a bolt, wipes sweat from his brow, then hears an engine approach. A single motorcycle rumbles to a halt by the mailbox. It's Brad, one of Wayne's group. Brad kills the engine and dismounts, helmet in hand. He looks uneasy, stepping closer, but keeping a respectful distance. Isaiah stands, wiping oil from his hands on a rag. For a moment, neither speaks. Finally, Brad clears his throat. "I was there that night," he says. "I didn't say a word while Wayne ran his mouth. That makes me a coward." Isaiah studies him, eyes calm. "You didn't join in. That's something. But letting it happen isn't much better." Brad grimaces. "Look, I know we acted like fools. I should have spoken up. After seeing how you handled everything, well, I can't shake how wrong we were." Isaiah nods slowly. "What do you want from me?" Brad rubs the back of his neck. "I wanted to apologize and let you know I'm trying to be better. It's not easy, but it starts with owning up to it." Isaiah sets the rag aside. "You're not a bad person, but you have to make different choices next time. Not for me, but for yourself." Brad takes a moment, gazing at the ground. "I've been thinking about that. Maybe if I'd stepped in sooner, Wayne wouldn't have gone that far." Isaiah looks him in the eye. "You can't change the past. Just do better." Brad exhales, relief crossing his face. "Thanks," he says softly. "I hope I can fix some of this." Isaiah manages a faint nod. "Time will tell." Brad offers a small salute, then climbs back on his bike. The engine roars back to life, and he rides off. Isaiah watches him disappear down the road, expression thoughtful. He returns to the pickup, adjusting a wrench. Behind him, the afternoon sun settles over the pines, quiet and unassuming. A reminder that not every battle is fought on foreign soil. Sometimes, the hardest fights happen right here at home. Isaiah lowers the hood with a clang, letting the moment linger. The memory of that night still stings, but Brad's apology reminds him that change can begin anywhere. He exhales, grateful for this small step forward, then moves on. There are those who quietly sacrificed, yet still face doubt because they didn't fit someone else's narrow idea of a hero. Isaiah never sought applause, only the simple respect owed to any human being. He didn't serve to earn medals or public praise. He served to stand for what he believed was right. His uniform wasn't about vanity. It was about protecting lives, no matter the cost. Even after coming home, some questioned his worth. They saw shoes instead of service, color instead of character. But he'd faced real threats before, and their disbelief couldn't diminish the truth. Isaiah fought not for status, but for principles, equality, dignity, and the freedom to be seen as more than an assumption. Now, if you've ever felt overlooked or doubted for simply being yourself, share this story. Spread the reminder that value can't be measured by stereotypes, but by the courage you show when challenged. And don't forget to subscribe, because there are countless untold stories of quiet heroes that deserve a voice. Together, we keep that voice alive, ensuring justice and respect find their way into every corner of our world. Because everyone deserves the chance to truly stand tall without fear of dismissal.